I'm so glad to be here with you. Bitcoin off almost now 5%. Look, I have to be honest. It feels absolutely fantastic. I just know exactly where I want to be at what time. And even though I would like to see Bitcoin rising and getting ready to do Bitcoin things, at the same time, I take a lot more, let's say, calmness, confidence in knowing exactly with no subjectivity whatsoever to know where I want to be positioned and why. Good stuff. Good session ahead of us. Even if we break down over here and start putting in some lower lows, and that's completely on the table, no question about that. By the way, we did start this session off talking about that tweet. I said that Bitcoin is roughly 10% from a major technical breakdown. Just want to look at that briefly with you. You saw me pull up the other chart then, and it is showing that from the bear flag, from the wicks over here, a few percentage away. But I'm looking for the major technical breakdown to be outside that channel. Let me just jump back over to it. I'm looking for a major technical breakdown, not just the bear flag. That would be an indication we could be going lower. So CTM 2.0 on top of that opportunity if it presents itself, but the major technical breakdown below this trend line over here. And I just want to point out again, at the time when we had that, I didn't want to get it wrong. I had to make sure that everyone understood the importance of the break of 53,140. I don't understand whether you're looking on chain, off chain, at whatever type of analyst, fundamental, macro. There were not too many other voices at that particular time calling out such a big breakdown occurring. And I'm talking about I'm selling all of my leverage. And yes, I'm holding spot. I continue to hold spot. I'm not selling my spot. I haven't sold my spot, in way too long. And I hope you get to that place. The only way that you get there is by not selling it. Early 2020, I was 50% into Bitcoin. Who else was at that time? I'm sure there were others. What do they call them before? Early adopters? But people who really got into Bitcoin, obviously well over 90% of their net worth is in Bitcoin because they've been holding Bitcoin for so long. But at the time, for someone who at the time, I think we had 4 kids or 3 kids or just had the twins, 5 kids, going 50% of your net worth into Bitcoin, it was very risky and a lot more risky than it is right now. A lot more risky than it. I'm not selling my Bitcoin and let everyone know that I held my spot and I continue to hold my spot. And if we break down over here, I'm not selling my spot. Like that's the whole thing. I'm not selling my spot. I'll continue to accumulate more Bitcoin from other ways. And now, if I decide at any point in time to sell my spot on the upside, that's a whole different story. But that would be done with a lot of thought and for good reason. We are so far from there. That's not even in the picture right now. Also, at this time, when that happened, the next thing I did was deleverage down. I had a bunch of loans out. And this whole way, when I say this whole way, I mean, not only, and I think leverage is good. I think if you know how to use leverage, you could do incredible things, right? Now, most people out there, they're gamblers. They're gamblers, and not only are they gamblers, when something is made abundantly obvious, they don't even give credit. They just remain salty. Oh, well, we didn't hit $180,000. We didn't hit $350,000. Okay? But you were told what to do here. I deleveraged down all of my loans. That was very important for me to do. We were no longer in a bullish environment. That was a major technical breakdown. If we break down from here and people still are leveraged out on Bitcoin, they might get some real leverage calls. I would imagine around 24,000, below 20,000, a lot of people would be wiped out. It's happened before. If you do break down over here, everything's on the table, and I have no idea what happens. Now we do have some, we go ahead and we could. By the way, this clone over here, just in case you're just joining us now, right? If you clone that line and you bring it up, it's a perfect channel coming up from the April to the November high. Also, if you go ahead and clone that off of over here, and I go off of the dollar liquidity crisis, the March low where this whole thing started. Really, it started much earlier in 2008, and really it started much earlier than that. ever since inception. Is it possible that if I could just go ahead and shoot this to the right a little bit, right? That, this is an area of support in the, maybe, but again, we could go under 20,000 and I have no idea who took what risks and who's getting liquidated down there. And I don't think price would last very long down at those levels. I know some people are talking about Bitcoin at 10,000 and if we break this level over here, for sure you will start seeing a lot of people then talking about $10,000 on Bitcoin. Look, it's all possible and anything's possible. I myself, that brings me all 85% drawdown from the all-time high. Do I think we're going to have an 85% drawdown before that the Fed would have to come in and pivot? Do I think that traders this time, after seeing what happened over here in March, by the way, this is not talked about, but a large part of this is because of the BitMEX liquidation loop. This move stopped after BitMEX platform, the largest exchange at the time, derivatives exchange at the time, went offline. And there's no coincidence about that. It's a different type of market. It's a much bigger market. It's almost 10 times the size. It's much more mature with a lot more different players. I don't think that we're going to see some type of liquidation loop going on. Bitcoin could have went to zero over here. Bitcoin could have went to zero if they never got BitMEX offline. That was some crazy stuff. But do I think that myself as an investor, is there a point down here that I would sell my Bitcoin? And I know there's not. I know that, matter of fact, I know that everyone that has the ability is looking to buy Bitcoin the cheaper it goes. Now, if we broke this line over here, this trend line at 30, whatever it is, 34 and change, anyway, I lost that little bit train of thought. So I'll just keep going. And what I'm getting at over here, most importantly, is that I don't think the Fed is going to, anyway. Oh no, I'm so sorry. This is the most important takeaway that I want you to take from all of this. And I've said it before. It goes back to 2008 when gold during the crisis traded off 30%. Over here, 12 years later, the next crisis took 12 years. The next crisis, gold was only off 15% and then shot up like a beach ball until growth returned. People move out of gold. Same thing's happening right now. This is a good time to be invested in gold because of the rate, the growth, the brakes being put on the economy. Do I think Bitcoin is going to go down 60% again if there's a crisis? Or the next time, do I think it goes down 30%? Or next time, does it go down 15%? Or does gold not even go down? Or is there a point in time when people just lose interest right now in the equity markets because of a stagflationary environment? And might they move into something that offers more opportunity? Structurally, it looks amazing. Forget waiting for the Fed to pivot. Forget even structurally, internally, the market here. Try to find this type of dynamic going on in a different market. You can't. And could this be the particular time as the Fed tightens in 2022? Rate shock. Yes, I know all of you know because we spoke about it in October, in November, in December, but we talked about how it looked like central banks worldwide, including the ECB, which no one believed at the time, were moving towards tightening. And right now, everyone believes, okay, well, they really are tightening. We didn't believe you before, but now we believe you because you did it, and now we think everything is going to break. I don't know that everything is going to break. I'm not under that posture whatsoever. I need to see technical breakdowns, and on technical breakdowns, we could just let it be known to anyone. If there's something that you need to do to protect yourself, this is the time. All right. Any thoughts on tactics on buying a breakdown? I mean, yeah, Run DMC for sure. I'm gonna jump in over here to some CTM 2.0 stuff, and I don't think there's any other way to do it. There's no sure, right? By the way, also very dangerous. You get a lot of traders on a breakdown, right? And doubtfully it'll happen like this, but it could. You get a lot of traders who short, right, the break, and then like that thing whipsaws up quickly. I've seen it happen in a lot of markets many times. And the thing is those traders become like deer in headlights. and they can't get out of their trade, and it causes price to keep rising, and then the covering begins, and then the liquidations begin, and price moves really fast both ways, first to the downside, then to the upside. I don't recommend trading anything subjectively outside of your own plan. It is essential to have a plan, right? So I personally wouldn't do it. I would if you had the ability to maybe lighten up on leverage. If you are leveraged, whether that's through a loan or whatever have you, you might want to get aside. And it feels really good on a technical breakdown to get aside. And then it's very easy. We just wait for clarity. And I don't know where that clarity is right now, right? I don't have it. If price went straight down, I probably would just say, all right, we got our clarity. And until we get a breakout, like, just like we did over here in the summer. Do you remember the day after the break, I drew the most important trend line in crypto? And I was like, we just wait. We wait for clarity. And then after the descending triangle formed, we were able to line that up. A lot of people from CTM really started leaning in very hard down over there. The others before the break of the most important trend line in crypto over here, taking profits over, same thing. But as far as playing the downside, I just caution just doing anything outside of, let's call it, the wheelhouse. Diamond over here, right? This is a beautiful entry. Stopped out, right? Now, just stopped out if you're using the stop loss at the low of the wick, right? So what happens next? What do you do next? Are you going ahead and you can do one of two things at this point? Are you going ahead and you're just moving this now, right? Do you use the wick up there, or are you using the line over here? I'm using the line over here. They line up pretty well over there on the 8-hour closes. So I'm just lining it up like that now that this entry would have been stopped off. Whether or not it proves to be something like using the high of the wick, or if it uses something like a little bit of a different slope, which is also possible, like this, we'll wait and see. And if we go down further, touching in this area, then at this point, I'll lean towards moving or pivoting to something like using the high of the wick and then going down further. Right now, just kind of playing it safe in the uncertainty using this view right there, which is not too much different. Look at the slope of that angle, but it is different. It is different. All right, everyone. God bless you. I'll see you all again in the morning. Have a beautiful day.